There are really amazing pieces of literature out there. The Iliad, the Odyssey, the Count of Monte Cristo, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. If there's one thing that humanity has always had plenty of, it's good stories. But all of those stories I just mentioned pale in comparison to what I believe will end up being a story of the ages. One Piece. My English teachers in school would spend literal hours collectively just glazing the absolute fuck out of William Shakespeare and his unbearably mid stories. You know what every Shakespeare story is? I, the main character, have suffered a very benign but uncomfortable experience. Therefore, I doth believe the only way to make this right is to kill myself. I did watch Denzel do Macbeth though, and that was really good. I just couldn't get Training Day out of my head.
I'm putting cases on all you bitches.
There are a lot of reasons why I feel this strongly about One Piece as a story, and those reasons are never as pronounced as they were than while I was watching the Kuma mini arc. There are a lot of words I can use to describe this arc. Words like peak and goated and the best thing I've ever seen in 1100 episodes. And while all these are accurate, the words I would use are more along the lines of heartbreaking, traumatic, or my personal favorite, the Kuma arc truly may have been the most amazing bit of storytelling I have ever seen in One Piece. It not only fleshed out a character that prior to that point, we had more questions about him than answers, but it also explored a lot of incredible themes like selflessness and sacrifice, and how despite going through the absolute worst that life has to offer, you can still come out on the back end as a noble and kind person. I genuinely do not think there will ever be a backstory written in One Piece that beats his in terms of how horrific it is, how bad it made me feel, and how amazingly it is written. Everyone recently has been talking about, oh, Superman, wow, he was symbol of hope. F that. This is my Superman. Bartholomew Kuma embodies what I think every person should aspire to. Kuma is someone that has been through more pain than just about anybody, honestly. But instead of letting that be his defining trait, he still chooses to put his body in front of others so that he could protect them. I think Kuma's selflessness and desire to protect and help others is the cornerstone of his life. When he was a child being hunted on God Valley for sport, he chose to help others. When the old people in his village were suffering from chronic pain, he's the one who would remove and then take that pain. Remember Nothing Happened? Kuma was doing that shit weekly. Nothing happened. Bro, we see you. Something for surely happened. Dude, while Monkey D. Deadbeat was figuring out which way east is on his compass, Kuma was busy giving up his life so that his daughter could be cured of her illness. And he never complained. He believed that his purpose, the reason he was given a strong will and a strong body, was to protect and help others, and he always did. You know what's so insane about Kuma's whole backstory is that he never once did anything for himself. Every action he took in his entire life, it seems like, was for the benefit of others. And sure, sometimes he would also benefit, like escaping God Valley, but Kuma is somebody who, even if he never benefited from any of the actions he took, he would still help because that's who he is. You know, I've come across a lot of people who just let all the bad stuff in their lives break them down until they were bitter and hateful, but Kuma was never like that. Kuma never had this idea of like, oh, I struggled and so everyone else should too. No, Kuma felt that because he struggled, he became strong enough so that he could protect people from their struggles. He's just such a good guy, man. Like Kuma has deadass looked out for Luffy more than his own father. Never in my life have I encountered a character that just doesn't get any breaks. Like the most vile, horrific shit is happening to Kuma constantly with no breaks. The most terrible things happen to him on such a regular basis that it almost turns into a caricature of itself. Like no way somebody's life is this horrible. This has to be a joke, right? Ain't nobody laughing here. You know what I like the most about Kuma? It's that he's a very strange guy. Not everybody is bitter about their past, but all I'm saying is that if I went through literally even one of the things he went through, I would definitely wear a bigger frown on my face. But not Kuma. Kuma wears a big smile on his face almost constantly. Kuma moves in his life with this philosophy of, yeah, I endured a lot of trauma and horrific experiences, and I probably should have been saved by the so-called hero of the Marines, Bumpy D. Larp, but through this trauma, I made great friends, I got married, I had a daughter. In every instance of something being taken away from Kuma, he always got something in return. Kinda like some I don't know, like maybe some like equivalent exchange. I don't know. You know, people tend to forget a lot that life isn't just one thing. It's not just one moment. It's a million moments, and each moment can affect the next moment. Look at me. I started this channel 5 years ago, and now my friends keep joking about me making a video on why I get no girls. Maybe that was a bad example. What I'm trying to say here is that your life is constantly changing. Even if your life sucks right now, you're still alive. Don't you owe it to yourself to see the good shit happen? You're really gonna get off the game on a loss? That 99% of gamblers quit right before winning $1 million. You gotta be that 1%. Bartholomew Kuma, despite enduring the very worst that the world has to offer him, was constantly concerned with how he can help others. He had a moment when he was young where he wanted to give up, and then he discovered his soul's desire to see the worm turn a little bit. Not just for himself, but also for others. And maybe he felt, even if it's just in a small way, if he can help the people around him, maybe that would help him get through his troubles too. Typically, the most generous people around are gonna be the people who've dealt with a lot, and for someone like Kuma, who literally from childhood, he was dehumanized and made to feel like he was an animal by every institution that the world has, maybe him using his power and strong body to help people was a way for him to leave his mark on the world. To say that in spite of all these sociopaths trying to kill people like animals, Kuma never let his humanity slip. By helping those people on God Valley, he gave a big middle finger to every celestial dragon, Saint Saturn, and the Marines. Kuma, this little kid, well, maybe not little, because he's at least 250, but this orphan child who lost literally everything in his life before it even started, refused to allow the world to destroy him. He refused to let the world destroy the memory of his parents, who taught him kindness and strength. And eventually, he went on to pass those very same things on to his daughter. The Kuma episodes were probably the hardest episodes to watch in any show I've ever seen. It broke my heart to constantly watch this man get dehumanized, sold into slavery, orphaned, brutalized for sport. The thing that hurt the most about this story was for the majority of his life, nobody ever saw Kuma as a human being with the right to exist the way he wants to. Someone always wanted to dictate the way he existed, either as a mule for the celestial dragons, or as a kill target on God Valley, or a robot mercenary for the world government. No one ever cared about what Kuma wanted. From the moment he was born, he was already placed onto a metaphorical hierarchy of worth. And because he was a buccaneer, he was on the low end. But none of that ever stopped Kuma. Despite the pain, the suffering, the dehumanization, he never forgot who he was. He never forgot who his parents wanted him to be. With quite literally the world trying to destroy him, he was able to etch his existence onto a world that wanted him gone. Through his kindness, generosity, and strength, he was able to, in some small way, give other people hope the way he was always told Nika did. The Kuma episodes broke my heart, and then rebuilt it a little bit, and then broke it again. And that's pretty much what Kuma's life was like. This constant battle of building something good, only for it to get ripped away from you. But even still, he never stopped trying. And that's the hallmark of Kuma's character. A man who never gave up, who never stopped trying to live, and never stopped trying to help. And honestly, I think that's a good start for anyone trying to figure out how to live their life. Thanks for watching. Like the video, subscribe, comment, share it. YouTube got this new thing on mobile where you can hype a video, so do that. It might turn out good for me. Anyway, thank you for watching. Fuck you, Garp. I'll see you guys next week.
Hey, my soulmate probably locked up. Free my bitch. Cause every hoe I talk to ain't on shit. Wait, and shame on my ex, I know that little hoe sick. Wait, I swear I'm way too peon, I can't be tricked. Hold up, wait, freaky hoe tryna eat me up, tryna suck my kids. Hold up, you can't shoot no shot on me, that bitch gon' brick. Wait, love my